Hi, I'm UnDaoDu, and what I want to talk to you is about Madmortal NFTs. I want you to imagine a Mad magazine meets hentai manga with a moral lesson. That's right. It's shock and awe treatment, and it's a niche NFT FoundUp. A FoundUp is an open startup anyone can join, and they become this new kind of entity on the blockchain called a DAI, which I'm going to cover. They're decentralized autonomous entities. And the objective here is to cut the head. So there is no organization, there is no middle party like in Uber or in Airbnb. It's basically you with open source code and coin. So Madmortal NFTs is a found up, as I mentioned, right? They're open source entities that anyone can join. Think of it as like a Bitcoin entity. If Bitcoin could be an entity, what would it be? It would be a found up. So it operates as a decentralized autonomous entities or DAIs. Now, I want you to think of a DAI as a DAO 2.0. I'm not. You can go your own research on a DAO, but the problem with DAOs, they're messy. They have a lot of clutter. You have to deal with organization and all of this stuff. How do you organize a bunch of cats to move in a certain direction? It's very messy. DAIs don't care about that. What the DAI does is it all the cryptos coming into the DAI is stored in perpetually on the DAI, kind of in a vault that no one has access to, and that asset, right? That standard, the Bitcoin standard, um, is then produces a native token that is distributed like a UBI to its members. 80% of this native token are returned to its stakeholders. The other 20% is used for the development through a bounty system, right? So it's like, hey, we need to do this. So there is no owners. There's no one to sue. There's no one to go after. It's just basically an entity that's kind of, think of it as open source code, but as an entity that you keep adding to, adding to, adding to. So what's the pain in regards to the NFTs? Well, there's been a lot of people asking poor Henrik if there's going to be NFTs, NFTs, NFTs. So we're going to make it possible for NFTs. In respects to memorabilia, the game's been around a long time. There's a lot of stories, there's a lot of lore, and there's a lot of opportunities to develop. Now, one of the problems I don't like with NFTs is this whole money, 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 get rich bullshit. It's not about that. The NFTs you can get is as little as $1.75 for the NFT, and they may be worth something in the future. But it's not about the money. It's really about the story, and people want pretty much memorial from the streamers, and they also may want to memorialize their adventures, and that's kind of the pain that we're trying to solve. Well, the solution is we want to make it simple and easy for anyone to create and develop NFTs. Now we're launching as Mad Mortal, and with this hentai, that's me doing it and getting the product up there. Based on the adventures and stories that I've developed as Horizon moving through the game. You may know that I have Junior, which is Team Rocket, one of their key players, God Tier, right? He's going to be playing as Horizon. And because of the little bit of conflict that, I came to the game and all of a sudden they call me Fake Horizon and, attacking me ethically. And the reality was I had Horizon in Mortal 1 when he didn't play, so obviously he was in my egg. And there was only one other character I really interacted with as Horizon, that was Killox, so Killox must be his dad. So by trolling me, now he's going to be immortalized in a magazine. He is, God tier, Horizon, God tier, right? And that's just a small part of it. And then all the adventures that I have as Horizon, and creating these moral twists to the story. So we want to make it easy for folks to share and upload and create NFTs, but it's not about getting rich. The NFT thing is just about having something that's yours, and as an NFT, it's yours. There's a lot of bullshit hype around NFTs that I don't agree with, and that's not what I'm going for here. All right, and there's a native token behind, in this case, FUCs, or I like to call them fucks. So I want to give you lots of fucks when you know get our NFT. So that, you can see we're very cheeky. We're very much out there. It's kind of like a UBI framework. So you as you participate on the platform, you actually get more and more um, fucks. So imagine if the more, you know, all the time you spend on these different platforms. Imagine if they took some of their profits and returned them back to you in the form of a token that you could use to do more stuff. Right? We want to make it easy. We want to be fair and reasonable. And this is the future of applications on the blockchain. So the outcome, well, we hope that Madmortal becomes the NFT portal not just for Mortal Online, but it can become easily forked for all of the gamings, like League of Legends, you name it. WoW, you talk about it, and there, and anyone will be able to take our kernel, the day kernel. They'll be able to take our platform, reskin it for their game, and run it. The day, it doesn't matter who does it, because all days work the same. So go ahead, steal my work, use it, because ultimately, if that's my game I'm playing, and there may be something in the code where, as the creator of the day, you know, I will always get some of the NFT of some of the native token are always put into UnDaoDu's wallet, and 100% of UnDaoDu's wallet does what? Launching more FoundUps. So as they fork days, they create more FoundUps. FoundUps are open startups that become days. Have a nice day, right? So and drive more people to Mortal Online, which is our game. I love Henrik. I love the work that he's doing, and I hope the NFTs from the game, especially these crazy ones that I'm making, and believe me, they're fucking crazy, are gonna be sought after. They're gonna be like the Hugh Hefner for gaming, right? Madmortal NFTs launch as a day. I've talked about that. It's like an entity as open source code and coin. It's like a Bitcoin entity, right? It's headless. There's no organization. Ultimately, AI will run the days, but we don't need to worry about that. You know, the noodle's coming. What we're building right now is what I call the kernel. And the kernel is the structure where simply the tokens are converted into Bitcoin. And when I say Bitcoin, it also refers to wrapped Bitcoin. And that Bitcoin is held, and then it distributes out 80% back to the community and 20% to the development, right? Because I'm part of the community. I don't get a salary. I don't need to get any of that. I'm interacting in the space, so I'm going to get those fucks, right? So, and depending on how you're interacting, who you are. So obviously, as the creator, I have a multiplier to my fucks than someone just showing up for the first time and hasn't done anything. People who are there earlier, who get in first, who are early adapters, ultimately have a different value. So the idea is that these early birds catch the worm. If you were there buying Bitcoin back in 2010, you would be retired today. Same thing. If the idea is that if you're in there playing on these new applications early and you believe them, 10 years from now, those fucks that you own, or the percentage of the fucks that you get because you own, are going to be significantly more. Because just as, imagine if I was interacting on Facebook and it worked as a day back in 2010 when Bitcoin came out, the overall amount of Bitcoin that I have indirectly purchased, now I don't have access to any of it because it stays in the day, is keeping track of that, and it's saying, hey, you are a tier 5 member versus someone coming on right now and doesn't have that amount. So the amount of fucks that you get in proportion to the new guy is significantly more because you're that tier 5 versus that tier 1, right? So you're getting maybe, 10 times, 100 times more of that Bitcoin. So it's always going to treat its stakeholders who are involved in it, and it's going to measure that worth by how much of the actual cryptos. Like how much, think about how many collectively everyone on Facebook, how much of their salary have you bought based on ad sales and everything else? And if you could quantitate that and get a UBI, wrapped into that, that's what we're doing. So FoundUp coins or fucks, what are they? Well, This is the native token, and you can click here and see the token of it. Right, it mints every time with wrap Bitcoin, because we're external, and what wrap Bitcoin basically it takes Bitcoin that exists and it holds it and ties it to this address, so it sequesters that Bitcoin. As I mentioned, there's a little diagram here, right? Public key, private key, holds NFTs, holds fucks, in the web app interacting there. So what are the NFTs? Let's talk about that real quick here. You have, you know, they're 2 or 3 sheets, right? So it's 4 sides or 6 sides. They're really small. They're condensed, and what I'm imagining is they'll be distributed monthly initially, right? So as we develop, we're going to have an NFT out there, maybe more. I have about 10 comic books in the work. They're very short, as you can see. You can listen to some of the stories, and maybe I'll add them to there. But it's manga means magazine with a moral lesson, right? It says message, but it should be lesson. NFTs that, like I said, monthly, you have different categories, and it's 1, 5, 24, 70%. So he says 24 because maybe it should be 4% and 25 and 70. I don't know. We may I think I may do that for, I don't know, 4%, 1%, 4%, 25%, 70%. I think I'm going to change it that way. Initially, what they do is they issue more, and the reason for that is there's an auction, like eBay auction on there. Only super rares and rares are auctioned, right? This is super secret, okay? 100% of the cryptos are used to buy buy wrap. So all of the money that goes in here doesn't go into my pocket, doesn't go into the team. It's actually used to buy, it goes to buy the wrap Bitcoins that issues the, the FUCs, all right? And the idea is that we want to drive people from being freemium to premium. Premium just means you're getting a subscription every time. Freemium means you have to actually physically go there and get it and issue it. So again, a low you'd be announcement like, hey, there's 2 magazines, so it's going to be like $3.50. Oh, there's 4 magazines. So as there's more and more, stuff going out there, you can just go, you can just up your subscription and start collecting them all, right? On there. So the auction distribution of NFTs, it's really simple. The as the market diffusion of grows, the number of additional NFTs falls. Okay, so the reason so one of the driving forces for this, everyone wants to have a good one, right? Everyone either wants a super rare or rare. Okay, so in this case, there's 100 users. Pretty much every user is going to have a rare, right? So they're the early adapters. I want to make it possible for, I don't want people coming on and building a site and all of a sudden they don't have a chance to get a nice, a rare one. But as this grows, it gets harder and harder and harder, and the multiplier just halves and halves and halves. So it gets fewer and fewer and fewer. It makes sense. But the number are going up. So eventually, it pretty much drops at late majority. Only 2.5% of it are turned into rares that are available. And maybe this is even too big. Maybe it's going to go even more so, right? Because I have to run the numbers on that. If that makes any sense. So, yeah, as user base grows, monthly falls according to the law of the customer adoption, which that is there. So what's what's kind of what we're focused on right now? We're basically prototype to MVP. A prototype is basically a non-monetary product, right? It's not necessarily making money, but it kind of works. It usually has a database so or is functioning, and then the minimal viable product actually is generating money for the organization. It's a minimal viable. You need that viability for this to work. And here I am on the right. There's UnDaoDu. He's sitting on the foundation of Bitcoin. Here's the blockchain coming out of his head. This band represents the circle, and then AI. There's the vault. There's where all the Bitcoin stays. And The summer wind, the Natsukaze he's staring at, that's the day. The day that everything changes is the Natsukaze. And the Natsukaze is the summer wind. It is the day kernel. So if you want to join, you want to contribute or help out, be part, you can actually join our Discord by going to foundups.org, the organization behind you can visit us visit UnDaoDu and connect with UnDaoDu on LinkedIn, or just search for UnDaoDu on LinkedIn. I don't think there's many UnDaoDus. I think there's only one. And ultimately, if you want to contribute, be part of the kind of like the behind the scenes, and Patreon is there. Patreon is currently being set up, and pretty much all the proceeds that go to Patreon will be used to fund the project. Thanks for listening and participating. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always find me on Discord, or I'll see you in Mortal. So how do I end this?